Mulahang Domingo kanatong tanan. One very particular detail from the gospel reading today is the declaration and the homage that the disciples who were in the boat said about Jesus when they said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Now, if we try to put this into context, this is before the time when Jesus asked his disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" Now, we know that episode, the confession of Peter, which we call as a subtitle to that. Now, Jesus asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" And so they answered. And then the next question is, "Who do you say that I am?" Now, why is it that Peter was the only one focused on that episode, when in fact, earlier than that, they already had said to him, "Truly, you are the Son of God." In other words, si Pedro kanunay yung mag-una. No? And that is always the impression that is placed in the Gospel of St. Matthew. In fact, in today's Gospel reading, at the same time, it was Peter who actually was so bold to say to the Lord, "If it is you, Lord, let me walk on the water. Let me come to you." No? The primacy or the primary role of Peter in as much as the disciples are concerned. So kato di ang gipangutana sila ni Jesus, "Who do you say that I am?" Nakauna ra di ay tog usa ka segundo si Pedro ato. No? Anyway, that is just part of how we have to appreciate and understand how St. Peter is presented. But the whole perspective of the readings today, including the Psalms, and of course, the second reading has something to do with such a proclamation and a declaration on the part of Paul about the chosen people of God, is centered on the way how God speaks to us or how He deals with us. Sa atong tagsatagsa ka mga kinabuhi o sa atong mga kasinatian, we are so prone, no? Muratag mag-expect yung kanunay og bongga, no? Bonggacious. No? Mao gani na nga magpiesta, magsaulog, kinahanglang na ay fireworks, na adyoy mga palanog jud ba aron mahibal-an jud. Muna nga usahay, if not always, no, maanad ta sa daghan kayo nga mga extraordinary, mga bonggacious o mga makakuyaw nga mga panghitabo. Malimot ta sa kinasimplihan o kinaordinaryohan nga panahon. And I think this is very well presented to us in the first reading today. The experience of Elijah about the presence of the Lord. Wala sa hangin, wala sa bagyo, wala sa linog, wala sa kalayo, kundili diha sa gitawag og gentle breeze. You know, this expression in Hebrew is very complicated. It is not easy to translate it. Some people would translate sheer silence. Uy, naadi ay tayo madungog nga tingog sa silence? And I think it is true. No? So layi ko no ninyo og naamoy time. No? Pag hilom gyud, kana ba focus ba? No? You know, silence sometimes in our experience, it is too disturbing. No, naay kahilom nga usahay makadisturbo nato nganuman wa man ta maanad sa kahilom. No, di man gani ta maka-establish usahay og 3 to 5 minutes nga silent prayer kay daghan kayong magrambol sa atong hunahuna o sa atong kasing-kasing. And this is one very beautiful reminder for us. A very good lesson to learn, that we can listen to the Lord even in the rumblings that we feel in the silence of our hearts. Dili lang sa daghan kayo nga mga extraordinaryo nga panahon, so makabungol na uy. No? So we have to shift also to the least practiced or to the least experienced moment, and that is what we call sometimes in the silence of our hearts. Because even silence itself is so important in our conversations and in our interactions. Bantay ra gud ninyo ng mga hilumon kay nga mga tao, no? Natay gisulti sa Cebuano nga ang hilumon laom og dulot. No, muna nga og naa gani panagsabutan kinahanglan nga ipahayag yun kay basig kanang silence. No, di ba natay giingon pod natin hibal-an pod nga ingon nga silence means yes or silence means no. It's either or. No, muna nga kanang pagpahayag sa atong kaugalingon kinahanglan ato usab nga ipakita. But God does speak in the silence of our hearts. And that was the experience of the prophet Elijah. Mausad na ang gisulti sa Salmo ganina. I listen to the Lord speak to me, and He speaks about peace. It is not just the peace or the kadait nga kanang kasinatian nga atong gipangita, nga atong gibugtaw, no? Nga atong gidesire, kasi kalinaw sa palibot, sa kalibutan, kundili in that peace, the Lord speaks to us. And so, like Samuel in the Old Testament, our words should always be, Lord, speak. Your servant is listening. Even in the silence of our hearts, there the Lord is constantly saying words of love, words of encouragement, and even words of challenge, because He cares for us. And in that silence, we see a golden experience. As the English saying would say, silence is golden. So as we continue this Eucharistic celebration and we move towards the so many different experiences we have to face and encounter, let silence be always a part of such an experience. That silence, which is what we call the presence of God, who constantly knows us all throughout, inside and out. Amen.